Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. In this meeting, I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is respectfully held on the traditional territory of the Sycus First Nation, on whose land we live, work, and play. We have an agenda circulated. We have one addition, which is 6.7, a NDIT grant application. Somebody like to move adoption as amended? All in favor? Carried. We have the minutes from the January 12th regular council meeting and the January 19th committee of the whole meeting. Somebody like to move adoption? Second. All in favor? And that's carried. No bylaws or delegations today, so we'll go straight into CAO reports. 6.1 is the development permit with variance application for 2754 recreation. Lynn, are you speaking?
This is an application from the Senior Society in BC Housing for building at the end of Recreation Avenue, and it's for a development permit with variances. And the variances are outlined in the report from Ben Robertson, and he is here to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Ben? Go ahead, Councillor Vandola.
Thanks, Wayne. Ben, just looking through the drawings on the proposal, and in the variance request, they're asking to go down from 31 parking stalls to 18, but in the drawings it only shows 17 stalls. I'm just wondering if that was just a mistake by us and thinking there was 18, but there's only 17 stalls being proposed. Okay. On the drawings. Okay. Okay.
You can't get his.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a super exciting project.
Oh.
Yeah. Have to speak loud, Ben.
Just like to move the recommendation for the variance in the development permit.
Second. Further discussion?
Just leave it on. This is for first two readings of the new OCP bylaw, which was discussed at the committee of the whole meeting last week. It's for the recommendation is to read it a first and second time and forward it to public hearing, which would be ready to go for February 9th at 5 p.m.
Any questions? No? Somebody want to move it?
Moved.
Seconder? All in favor? That's carried. 6.3, funding service and license agreement, Van Hoof Library Association.
This was also discussed at the committee of the whole last week, and the recommendation was to forward it to council for approval. There was just one small change in section 13(1)(f) or E. That was in this version attached to the agenda, so it's just on the agenda now for approval.
Any questions? Somebody want to move it? Councillor Lozay?
Be approved.
Seconder? Any further questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, 6.4, general local election appointments.
So the general local election is October 17th, 2026. This is just to the chief election officer and the deputy chief election officer have to be appointed by council. So that's what this first report for the agenda is for, and there'll be others once the bylaws are reviewed.
We have a mover?
I'll move that.
Seconder? Second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, 6.6, development procedures amendment.
Fees.
Oh, fees first. I hit the wrong one. 6.5, fees by law, first, second, and third readings.
No, so this one's for adoption. It had first, second, and third, January 12th. This is to change the fees bylaws for the finance department and to add some and to bring some fees from other bylaws into this bylaw with a thought that eventually we'll have more schedules added to the bylaw and have one consolidated fees bylaw. So it's on the agenda for adoption.
So I'd like to move adoption.
Move.
There's a second. Okay. Any questions or queries? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, 6.6, Development Procedures Amendment Bylaw.
This is for adoption as well. It is an amendment to the development procedures bylaw to allow for development permits to be considered by council, which was just an oversight in the original bylaw.
Do we have a mover? Seconder? Any questions or queries? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, we have the council priorities on there to remind us of 6.7. I didn't wrote it in. Everything. Okay, 6.7 was distributed to you. This is, what do you want to?
Sure, or Will can, yeah. It's more.
So we're looking to put in a NDIT grant to look at the labor market research plans. So this plan will be developed for Vanderhoof, but we are looking at the possibility of actually doing this as a regional approach. So we're having discussions with Fort St. James, Burns Lake, Fraser Lake, to all be included as well. We're also looking, we're going to have some discussions with the regional district to make sure that the areas surrounding these communities are also included. And we'll also be looking at the inclusion of First Nations as part of this research. The reason that we're looking at the potential for it to be a regional approach is so that there's no gaps in the information and so that we can have a more cohesive approach. This is currently offered as a funding stream per individual municipality. So we're looking at it doing applications separately and then combining that together in order to have more of that regional approach. The funding provides for up to 90% of the funding, up to $50,000 per location. And we're looking at contributing about $6,000 of our own.
Any questions? Have a seconder? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, now on 7.1 is council priorities that we have on there to remind us of our strategic plan and how we plan to get there. Moving on to councillor items. Let's start with Councillor Frankel.
Thanks, your worship. And I'm thinking back to the council priorities. We should probably set some time ahead this next year to start thinking of the next priorities. Or do we follow that through until the next election? Not a lot going on. But you know, you can talk to this if you want a little bit later. Councillor Vandola, the mayor, and myself met with Minister Parmar at Resources North last week. We got over a half hour with him actually. You know, the reality of the situation on forestry is in front of us all like we thought it would be. And, you know, we're still trying to work very hard on finding fiber for mills that need it. And we let them know, and we let them know where our community forest expansion was and that we're moving along. So I think there's a little bit more you can add to that. Taking up a lot of the other spare time is working on budgets for, not the budget, sorry, the centennial dollars, because the budget was already created, but trying to come up with what we can show our partners that are partnering with us. So we've, you know, Ernest, myself, and others have had meetings on that, and we're trying to get that ready. And so we're hopefully can get the partners' names out there in the next press release, Mr. Councillor Bomer, or whenever that happens, you guys. So that would be a good thing to do. And then Councillor Martins and myself were talking about that we probably have to reiterate or go after the VIPs that we invited earlier or late last year. We should probably follow up to see whether they're a yes or a no, just because certain ones come with their own issues, not issues, but more security. Yeah, more security. So if you get the premier, if you get the prime minister, it'll be more security. So we just need to be well in advance. We have to start to plan for that thing. On January 22nd, a great kickoff to the 100-year anniversary for Vanderhoof being incorporated. I thought the night was cool, but the fireworks were fantastic. I'd like to thank Tim Hortons and Ash for bringing the tea and the coffee and the cookies. I thought that was awesome. And we had not only great attendance down at the park, but everywhere the streets were full of Burrard Street and for people to watch. So I think that that's a good thing. And now we start to work on all of the other centennial things that happen. So that's what I have.
Awesome, thank you. Councilor Lozey.
Yep, okay, thanks. So yeah, working a bit on the centennial budget with Councillor Frankel and on January 20th, I attended a library board meeting. And a couple things that's, came out of that meeting, that they're getting more requests for adult programming at the library, but they don't have the space to do the programming. So on top of their children's programs, they're getting a lot more requests for adult programming. And then we talked a little bit about their security. And I know when we met with the library a few weeks ago, we talked about perhaps setting up a committee with the RCMP and council, but they felt like their first step would be to contact one of the school principals, because it's a lot of after-school kids, elementary kids. So that would be their first step, and then see how that works and possibly reach out from there. So that's where they're at with that. I also want to congratulate the organizers of the fireworks. It was a great night, and Will and I got the pleasure of hearing the responses of some young children behind us. It was just awesome. So that's where we're at. Yeah, that's it for me.
Councilor Young.
Just, I think a lot of us went down for the celebration, and a lot of people are thanked already. I also want to thank staff who were involved with that. It was a little chilly that night, but it was a really good turnout, I think. And I had some grandkids there too, so I got to hear about it there and on the way home and when we got home, and yeah, and one of them stole my cookie and ate it. So anyway. Yeah, anyway, maybe grandma gave it to, I don't know. Anyway, it's gone. So great event, and I think it was a really good one to start off, positive momentum for the rest of the year, because I think it's going to be a really great year with all the different things that are going to be planned. Another positive note, about a week and a half ago, METS had a meeting with the primary care project. Things are moving along quite well. So I can't really talk about a lot of the details, but it's back on track.
Yeah.
Which is a really exciting thing. And to see, in the next couple of years, we're going to see that project come to fruition, and it's going to be in our community. So there's some other things that need to be planned, a lot of pieces that we'll be involved in as a district and as a community, but that's a big step for us as a community. So can't share too many other things until it comes out of being in camera, but it was a really good, productive meeting. And I just wanted you to know that it was back on track, because we were a little nervous there for a while. And so it's good to see that. I'll just leave it at that for now. Over to you guys.
Councilor Bandola.
Yeah, so along with Councillor Frankel and Mayor Moutre, I also attended the meeting with Minister Parmar in Prince George at the Natural Resource Forum. We did have a really nice long meeting, which you don't normally get with the minister. Normally there are 15-minute snapshots. We had a full half hour, so that was excellent. Definitely talked about our community forest expansion plans and the development of a rationale to increase our area a bit, so that we can, certainly get the volume that we're hoping to get out of the area. We also talked about tenure take back and some of the challenges we see with large corporations shutting down, but still retaining the volume. And now in some cases, they're trying to sell that as if they were like BC Timber Sales. So we expressed our non-support of that continuing to go on. On January 20th, Councillor Frankel and I met with Bloomberg News, which is an international news outlet. Individuals looking for our take on what our forest industry is doing locally. Definitely carried an international flavor, mostly due to, what is our take on the US's tariffs and the impact they have. And we had to give them an 80 years experience on forestry, let them know how it works, and that, in our area, the addition of a 10% tariff is just another, death by 1,000 cuts of the existing anti-dumping and existing duties that the licensees already pay. And from our conversations with all the major license holders, the duties are not the number one issue that's making these companies fold the tent. It's all about fiber access. And so fortunately, we have a really great map of our forest district that outlines all the forest fires from 2000 and on. And it's pretty telling when you have a map that's mostly red that the fiber isn't out there. And so unfortunately, the narrative that is trying to be pushed by these international news outlets is all about tariffs and how bad Donald Trump is. And not that it's not, but it's not the main reason that we're seeing the mill closures in our area. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilor Bowman.
I attended the Christmas meeting of the Chamber of Commerce. Couldn't do it at Christmas time, so we did it this year. Great year wrap up, and really looking forward to what the Chamber has planned for us in the coming year with our 100th anniversary. They've got lots of things on the go, and they're getting ready to unleash them on the public. And then I attended the fireworks display like everyone else, and just reiterated the fact that I'm really looking forward to going into this year with the 100th anniversary celebrations. So that's it for me.
Councilor Martins. Should be coming.
Boy. Both going there. Yeah, thanks. Kind of a little bit of repeating, I guess, of what's been going on too with everybody else around the table. I've been working hard, I think every day for sure, working on a few things to deal with our 100th anniversary, like the celebration this summer. Working hard, like Councilor Frankel was saying too, with lots of partner sponsorship and things like that to really getting a good vibe from those people. So that feels good. And we're actually nailing quite a few of the little details kind of coming together, which feels really good. We have another meeting next week, as we know, and we'll get some more details ironed out then, and hopefully keep checking the boxes for sure. Time goes quickly, as we all know, and like we're really only 5 months away, so it'll be here before we know it for sure. So yeah, thanks everybody for working on your part of that for sure. And then just talking about the fireworks again, same as everyone's mentioned, I was there as well with all our family was there, and everybody enjoyed it. And I had really, really good feedback just the next day around town, just kind of the general public stuff that I thought was good. And I was kind of promoting it as a really good news story too. And it was a good positive thing, made everybody feel good, and everybody was smiling when you talked about it. So I wanted to thank the staff for all the work they did, to put that on. That was done excellent for sure. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start with primary care. Everybody saw the letter that Minister of Infrastructure sent to us. I think we're going to look in and see if that can be released publicly, just because, it's good that it shows it is on track and it is coming, or back on track, I should say, not on track, but good to have that coming. Resources Forum was the big thing for me, and thanks for the two councillors that came in to meet with Minister of Forests at the 7 a.m. meeting. It is good, and I just want to reiterate again how fortunate I am as a mayor to have the two of you coming into those forestry meetings with me, with that knowledge that you bring to the table. And it's obviously respected from the other side as well. So it's good that it brings that focus to the issue. I anticipate we're going to be working on this as hard as we have been for a lot longer yet before we see any real progress, but we need to keep that pedal to the metal. And looking forward to working on the COM4 expansion and where that brings us. Also met with Minister Neal there with the regional district to talk about the memorandum of understanding with the Nechako First Nations, Chislada, the regional district, and Vanderhoof. Really good meeting. I swear the minister had a tear coming down her cheek at one time, so it was impactful for her, and talking about the importance of the NE2 projects and keeping that on track and seeing if we can get a better flow regime in the river. Also, while I was there, I met with Artemis. Obviously, really good announcements coming out of Artemis. They're excited to keep things moving forward, and it was a really good meeting. Also met with Rio Tinto. They had some of their senior staff there, so it was good to make that connection while we were there. 22nd was awesome, and again, hats off to staff that worked on that. I haven't heard any negative comments. I think everybody really enjoyed it. It's a huge milestone to get to 100 years, and it's great to see the community come out and on a Thursday night be able to enjoy it. Exactly. Awesome. On the 23rd, had a really good meeting. Will and I with CNC. They came to town talking about other programs that we could be doing here and moving those forward. Next one's going to be back to back with the regional advisory group, I believe, is what they were looking at for dates. So maybe we can hook that up. But a lot of momentum there in looking at what they can provide in Vanderhoof and how we can look outside the box to provide programming. So excited, and we'll try and keep that momentum going. Lastly, on Saturday, I was at the library for the reading by Cecilia John, and just want to say thank you so much. That's great to bring local authors in and get that exposure. It was pretty well attended, and I think it was really good for the author as well. So thank you very much. Yeah, Councillor Frankel. You should come on.
Not that I get two kicks at the cat. I just want to speak about your advocacy. Part of being on council is not just writing a letter for a primary care facility, or just not like writing a letter because your air is, is dirty and, whatever, it's contaminated and all those things. I think we as council, Kevin, you're it as well. We go to these things to advocate for our communities. I don't think people understand that enough. They think that we just write letters, and we don't. So the more advocacy that we do, the better off our town is. And I want to thank you for always going to these things, and we're sending one now and not all three of us. And I think that that's a good thing, because it's the meetings you meet with ministers outside of those functions, people that share the same circumstances as you, that are positive things for our community, and that's why we go. I know towns like Prince George are taking heat for sending all of their counselors to things and all of that, but that's how you advocate. Don't think that Vancouver and Victoria go to the legislature every time they can. We're just way up north, and so when we get the opportunities to advocate, we should. So I just wanted to add that. Also wanted to Councillor Martins, they had 18 musicians submit for the local musicians thing for the Saturday. But we adjudicated that on the 16th. I think all of us here, Dave, Councillor Vandola, I think you were busy, you were reffing. And so we listened to that and we adjudicated that fair and square, and we came up with a list. And I thought that was an awesome hour to spend listening to everybody, including the bands that you guys represent as well. So I'm glad that you all submitted. I also want to be able to say, and this is not self-promotion, but it's for the promotion of all of us. A couple friends in municipal government, we're creating a podcast to let people know how to become, what's involved as being a locally elected official. So we're going to start that. I'm not looking to get 10 million views. That's not the point. The point is that if people are ever interested, it'll be 3 or 4 individuals across the province getting together and having a conversation on what it really means to be a councillor, a mayor, a school district person, a regional district person. So we're trying to do that to get ready for the election. So you just don't come in single focused and say, I'm going to change this, because it doesn't work. But here's what you can do as being a member of council. So we're working hard to get probably 8 episodes out before the election. So it helps everybody, because we want new people to come in and we want all of that. But go in with your eyes wide open and know that there's supports there for everybody. So sorry about that. I should have added that earlier. Okay.
That's great. And thank you for that work. And it's great to help people be informed before they make that big decision to put their name in the hat. Okay. Thanks, everybody. With that, we are adjourned.